Hey guys, welcome to another episode on my channel. So on the left you can see code from our previous episode. So what we did in here, we created one small web server where content is served from our ESP8266 microcontroller. And it's strongly recommended for you to watch that episode because today we are going to create exactly the same server but in completely different way. And before we start, let's say that this episode is not about a better or worse way to create web server with ESP microcontrollers. You could understand this just as another method to do exactly the same thing. Whether you are going to use first one or second one, it's absolutely up to you. So first I'm going to copy this entire code from our previous episode into new window. Okay, and on the right we are going to do our coding. So first, for this second method we don't need these three statements. We are going to use only ESP8266 Wi-Fi.h. Then we are not going to use ESP8266 web server object. We are going to use Wi-Fi server object. And we are still going to use port 80. Top and bottom content for our web page is going to remain the same. Result is going to remain the same too. But now you see that in previous episode we used the create response in order to create a response that is going to be sent to our client. But now this kind of response, it's not going to be enough. On top of all of this we have to create message header. And now we are going to do just that. So I'm going to create string header, or better to say proper header. Of course it's gonna be string, and first we are going to say http:/1.1 200 okay backslash. Don't worry, I'm going to explain everything in a moment. Now we are going to add content type column text /HTML backslash, and finally in third line space close. And now we need two new line characters. So new line. All right. And to our create response function, I am going to set proper header at the beginning. So in previous case, object ESP8266 web server dealt with this problem automatically. Now we have to provide header ourselves. And this header simply says that this is HTTP content 1.1, and with 200 OK we set to client that request it's fine. And then we are saying that our content type is text HTML, and with third line we are saying that when we deliver content, connection is going to be closed. And of course at the end you need empty line in order to split header from actual content. And now we are just going to delete these functions. So we don't need root response, on add, on subtract, on not found. We are going to delete all of that. Okay, and now we are going to deal with void setup. So this part it's okay. We are establishing a connection with our local Wi-Fi. We are printing data from Wi-Fi object. Okay, we don't need MDNS. And we don't need these four server lines. Okay, everything else is fine. Now we are going to deal with void loop. So in previous case we had only one function, handle client. But now we are going to do all of that manually. Okay, make some space in here and let's do it. But before we continue with void loop, first I want to create additional variable int timeout. Let's set it to 2000. Okay, and in this case we are creating client every time client is connected to our server. So we are going to call Wi-Fi client, call it client from server available. All right. Now we are going to check if a client is properly created. If client, and if is, we are going to deal with that piece of code now. First, we are going to print to our serial monitor something like okay, this is fine. Now we are going to create integer variable current time, another previous time, current time. No, we don't need these brackets. And now we are going to use another if loop in here, and first thing that we are checking, if client is connected, and current time minus previous time, it's less than timeout. So what we are actually checking with this statement? In order to proceed, we need to make sure that our client is connected and the time in between connection and actual request it's not exceeding 2 seconds. And if everything is fine, first thing that we are going to do now, we are going to update our current time, and we are going to read request from our client. Request read string, and now we are going to create another if loop. If request index of post add is greater or equals 0, we are going to execute code from within these squarely brackets. So what this is about? This string post / add means that our client requests page add with post method, and that is going to happen if he puts some text into appropriate text box and he clicks on execute. So if our request contains this element, means that described action has been performed. And now we are going to ask for integer index of request index of, and we are looking for string. So what is this about? In previous method, our arguments were parsed automatically. Now we have to do that manually. And our arguments are going to be provided with request at the end of actual request. And our arguments are going to be provided in this form. Argument name equals. Then immediately after we are going to receive a value. And by knowing index of this element, we know where we are going to look for actual value. And now we are going to create substring based on this index. Substring is going to be request substring from index +4. Why? Because our index is going to hold the index of first element from this string. And our actual value is going to start immediately after this string ends. That means from the beginning +4 characters. And ending index for this substring is going to be request length. Finally, from this string we are going to create actual numerical value. So integer, call it v for value, with function toy. And now I'm going to provide our substring with cstr, and we are going to add this value to our result. So result plus equals v. I'm going to copy this part of code for our subtract, So now we are dealing with subtract. Okay. Subtract. And subtract has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 elements. So we are going to add 10 to this index. And finally, in fourth line, we are now going to subtract value of v from our result. And now I'm just going to do final part. Serial print ln. I want to print request to our serial monitor in order for you to see, and client print ln. I want to send content with function create response. This looks fine. And finally, we are going to stop. Okay. Remove all of these unnecessary empty spaces. All right. And now I'm just going to type in my credentials. You don't have to see that part, so I'm going to cut it from this video. And finally, I'm going to upload this code to my microcontroller. Okay, we are uploading. I'm opening my serial monitor. I'm going to restart my microcontroller right now. Alright, we are connected with IP address of 192.168.0.23. And I'm going to close this window. Okay, I'm going to open my Firefox. Alright, and now I'm just going to type that address in. 23. Alright, so what is the first thing you are going to notice while loading this page? It's that this second method, it's a little bit slower than previous one. And let me check with serial monitor what we have in here. So we have a new client. Alright, request looks quite nice. And now I'm going to add some values to our result. I'm going to add, let's say, 25, execute. Give it some time. Alright, we have 25, and what we have in here. So we have post, host, everything looks just nice. And as I said, here is our argument. Argument it's at the end, and we have argument add, equals, and value. And now we are going to subtract some value from it. Let's say 36. And of course we have subtract 36, and finally our result is minus 11. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you have learned something interesting. So please like, subscribe, and see ya!